I have spent the past 2 weeks talking to as many smart people as will take my call. I'm talking about people my age who I respect as logical thinkers who look for the truth, business owners, entrepreneurs, people who have built businesses, people who have sold businesses, private equity managers, real estate agents, commercial real estate managers, operators, owners, anybody that will talk to me. I'm taking their advice and I'm asking them what they're scared of, what they're worried about, what they're doing, and what they think will happen. And I'm going to give you a perspective that's a little bit different than what you are reading about, seeing online, on social media, on the news. And these are some things that I think are very important. I mean, we're going to talk the economy. We're going to zoom out. We're going to talk macro stuff right now because I think understanding this is very important as you're planning for the future of your business, of your career, whatever it may be. One of the things, there's obviously the coronavirus. Everybody's a little bit scared of that, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm going to talk about some other things that are going on right now and influencing our economy, influencing what's going on. Number one is the temporary unemployment. Temporary unemployment in and of itself is not a super scary deal for a lot of the smart people that I'm talking to. They know that these businesses are eventually going to open back up. What they are very afraid of is the unsecured debt that a lot of people are going to take on. The bailout money, right? I mean, I'm not talking about the $1,000 for each citizen in the United States. I'm talking about the small business loans that are going to be offered at low interest rates to businesses that have been affected by the coronavirus. And it's a problem because most Americans have between 14 and 30 days, most small businesses have between 14 and 30 days of cash in reserve. Most businesses in America operate on very low margin. Most business owners in America, when they make profit, they spend it, they upgrade their lifestyle. Lifestyle creep happens. They get more expensive houses, they get more expensive cars, and so on. So all this unsecured debt is a real worry for me because people are just going to have to pay it back. It's not secured debt. It's not secured by an asset. It's not secured by a business. It's not secured by a home, a piece of real estate, a piece of machinery. It is personally guaranteed debt, which A, is going to be really, really hard for people to pay off. And B, it's going to look really, really, really bad on people's personal financial statements when they go to get other loans, when they go to buy a house, when they go to get a real business loan, when they go to buy a piece of real estate, and they have these unsecured pieces of debt on their books. That's not good. So if you're in the position of considering taking bailout money, if you have no other choice, do it. But if you don't think you're going to be able to pay it back, think twice, because that is something that could really wreck the economy in the coming months. Number two is oil. Oil is taking the sideline, and this is something that I personally am also extremely afraid of after talking to a couple of really smart people that I know. As you know, about 2015, 16, I think it was 2015, the oil price was $3.40 a gallon. Gas price. 2016, it dipped to $2.50 a gallon. It's been about $2.50 a gallon ever since until now, until the Saudi Arabian government and the Russians have flooded the market with oil and tanked the price of a barrel of oil. What does that mean for the U.S. economy? Well, it means a lot because our energy sector, a huge part of the United States GDP, is hanging on by a thread. It was hanging on by a thread before the oil prices dropped. So all these energy companies, all the oil companies, the drillers, any kind of energy, right? Electrical energy, natural gas energy, any of it has been hanging on by a thread and has been basically subsidized by bonds that a lot of it's government subsidized bonds, but a lot of it is also bought by private investors. That is what is funding these companies and these businesses to survive right now because they cannot compete. They cannot make oil cheap enough to compete with these low prices that the Saudis and the Russian government are flooding the market with right now. So that's putting them in a pickle, and 15% of these bonds are going to default this month. They're not going to be able to pay the note. They're not going to be able to pay the interest. They're not going to be able to make their payment this month. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen if the oil prices stay low here for 6 months is that our entire energy sector is going to collapse unless the government bails it out and subsidizes it further, which may happen. The United States has to create its own oil. It has to create its own energy. It's a national security risk to be completely dependent on the Saudis and the Russians to send us oil, okay? But our companies are losing money. They're hemorrhaging money. They're going to go bankrupt. So what's going to happen? Are all these people just going to be out of jobs? These companies shut down, the economy implode because our energy sector is going to die? Or is the government going to bail us out? Or are the Saudis and the Russians going to stop their spat and let the prices of oil rise? I don't count on the Saudis and the Russians to do that. I think the Saudis know exactly what they were doing. They knew that we were down. They knew that our economy was about to stop. They knew that we were on the verge of a recession. Boom. Black Monday happened after they slashed the prices of oil and flooded the market with oil. They twisted the knife. They stuck the knife in the U.S. economy, twisted it. It's a scary, scary, scary deal. I am much more scared of this oil issue right now than I am of the coronavirus and temporarily stopping our economy right now. So that's another thing that the smart people that I talk to are really worried about when it comes to the U.S. economy. The last thing I want to talk about is the real estate loan market right now. First of all, residential houses. I have a really, really good friend who is a loan officer here in Athens, and he's filled me in on what is going on with the home loan crisis. It's a crisis. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac do not have enough cash right now to buy all the loans that all these retailers are trying to sell. Everybody knows the interest rate. The Fed dropped the interest rate to 0 a couple of days back. So everybody thinks, oh, that's going to really help my home mortgage. I'm going to refinance or I'm going to buy a piece of real estate because I'm going to be able to get interest rates near 0. That's amazing, right? Well, no. The U.S. government doesn't write these notes. These notes are all based on supply and demand. Okay, so if there's more supply of these notes than there is money to get them back, the rates are going to rise. If there is less notes being written and more money in the market trying to buy these securities, trying to buy these mortgages, then the rates drop, period. Well, there's been a flood of mortgages, a flood of people needing money, and a real shortage of money buying these assets, and accompanied with the fact that they're all of a sudden really, really risky because a huge portion of the U.S. economy, 2 million people or more, are totally laid off and not going to be able to make their mortgage payment this month. So the people who are buying these notes look at them now as more risky. So a more risky loan requires a higher interest rate. So that's another reason why the home interest rate this week went from 2.93 even a week and a half ago to 5.25% on Friday of this week, yesterday. That is insane. That is insanity. So what you're seeing is people backing out of deals, people not being able to afford the houses that they were going to buy, people getting really scared, and basically the real estate market is at risk. A lot of really smart people in my life tell me it's at risk of completely coming to a halt right now. Everybody backing out of deals, everybody getting scared, nobody being able to secure financing, and it all tightening up and seizing and heading for a recession. So that's another really scary part about all of this. So we have the temporary unemployment. We have these loans and bailouts that are going to be going out to everybody. We have this oil issue, and we have the inability to get actual financing on commercial real estate and residential real estate, and also small business loans. All loans right now are way riskier than they were 3 weeks ago because so many more Americans are out of work, so many small businesses are losing money, that it's really, really risky for a financial institution to loan on this debt. So if the government doesn't step in, actually the government did. On Friday, the government stepped in and started buying these or guaranteeing these home loans that Freddie and Fannie didn't have the cash to buy. It's hitting the fan. This is insanity. So you have a lot more going on behind the scenes than just this coronavirus stuff. And it's stuff that we as entrepreneurs need to follow. It's stuff that we as entrepreneurs need to focus on because it's all pointing to a pretty significant recession here. I'm not fear-mongering. I don't really have a dog in the fight. I don't gain anything by spreading fear here on the podcast to you or the person watching this on YouTube. I just think it's very important for you to be aware of what's going on. If you are in need of a loan, if you are trying to buy commercial real estate of any kind, if you're going to try to get a small business loan, be really careful about getting it. Be really careful because it's going to be hard to get the loans the old-fashioned way, and it's going to be very tempting to take these bailout loans, these small business loans, these personally guaranteed loans that you may actually have no ability to pay back over time. When an incredible amount of people are just not going to pay rent this month, that is going to send shockwaves through the commercial real estate world. So many people who have 10 Airbnbs and $3,000 in their checking account are going to go totally belly up. So many businesses are totally stopped right now. Event management businesses, videography businesses, wedding planning businesses, restaurants. New construction is going to completely stop. We already bailed out of our new construction deal up in New York because of the risk, right? When things hit the fan, you have to minimize risk. So we're going to focus on cash flowing assets right now only. We're going to continue to close on the 2 other properties that we're pursuing, but we are not going to build a new self-storage facility right now in upstate New York because it's way too risky. Our cash is way too valuable to do that. So civil engineers are going to be out of work. Earthwork people are going to be out of work. Home builders are going to be out of work. It's crazy. And it's going to be really, really hard on us as home service or service-based entrepreneurs. If you're listening to this, it's going to be really hard on us. So just continue to get all the advice that you can. Continue to read from the right sources. Look at everything that you're reading out there and getting from the media. Look at it with a comprehensive viewpoint. Challenge it. Get advice from other people, smarter people. And just do your best because this is going to be wild. This is going to be wild.